Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Dr. Razia. Today we will discuss about the renal physiology of urine or the concentration of the urine. How the urine is concentrated or diluted. So urine concentration and dilution: when there is excess water in the body and body fluid osmolarity is reduced, the kidney can excrete urine with an osmolarity as low as 50 milliosmol per liter. A concentration that is only about 1/6 the osmolarity of the normal extracellular fluids. When there is deficient of water and extracellular fluid osmolarity is high, the kidney can excrete urine with a concentration of about 1200 to 400 milliosmol per liter. So every day 180 liter of glomerular filtrate is formed with a large quantity of water. If this much of water is excreted in urine, body will face serious threat, so the concentration of urine is very essential. Osmolarity of the GFR is same as that of plasma and it is 300 milliosmol per liter, but normally urine is concentrated and its osmolarity is 4th time more than that of the plasma, that is about 1200 to 1400 milliosmol per liter. So there are different factors which determine the osmolarity of the urine. So osmolarity depend upon basically the two important factors. One is the water content in the body and second are the antidiuretic hormone. The basic requirement for forming a concentrated or dilute urine are the water content in the body and the antidiuretic hormones. So the controlled secretion of antidiuretic hormone, which regulate the permeability of distal tubule and collecting duct water, and the high osmolarity of renal medullary interstitial fluid, which provide the osmotic gradient which are necessary for water reabsorptions to occur in presence of high level of the ADH. So the formation of dilute urine: when water content in the body increase, kidney excrete dilute urine. This is achieved by inhibition of ADH secretion from the posterior pituitary. So water reabsorption from the renal tubule does not take place, leading to excretion of the large amount of water. This make the urine dilute. So formation of concentrated urine, it depend upon the when the water content in the body decreases, kidney retain water and excrete concentrated urine. So formation of concentration or concentrated urine is not as simple as that of the dilute urine. It involves the two process. One is the development and maintenance of the medullary gradient by the countercurrent mechanism, and second is the secretion of antidiuretic hormones. So how the medullary gradients or the medullary hyperosmolarity is achieved? The cortical interstitial fluid is isotonic to the plasma, as you can see in this figure. The with the osmolarity of 300 milliosmol, and the osmolarity of the medullary interstitial fluid, that is near the cortex, is 300 milliosmol. However, while proceeding from outer part towards the inner part of the medulla, so it increases and reaches the maximum at the innermost part of the medulla near renal sinuses. The interstitial fluid is hypertonic and the osmolarity is 1200 milliosmol. in the inner medulla as it go towards the cortex, then becomes 1000, then 800, and the type of gradual increase in the osmolarity of the medullary interstitial fluid is called the medullary gradient. It play an important role in the concentration of the urine. So the kidney has some unique mechanism called the counter current mechanism, which is responsible for the development and maintenance of medullary gradient and hyperosmolarity of interstitial fluid in the inner medulla. So you can see here in this picture the counter current flow, the counter current mechanisms. The counter current mechanism produce a hyperosmotic renal medullary interstitium. Hyperosmotic gradient in the renal medulla, you can see in this figure, the outer cortex it is 300, then the inner outer medulla it is 600, and it becomes, when it is reached to the inner side of the medulla, so it will become 1200 milliosmol. So counter current mechanisms. A counter current system is a system of U-shaped tubules in which the flow of fluid is opposite opposite direction in two limbs of the U-shaped tubules. So the counter current system has divided into two: counter current multiplier formed by the loop of Henle and the counter current exchanger formed by the vasoreactor. So counter current multiplication and the concentration of urine. There is active transport of sodium chloride along with the concentration gradients. So other factors which are responsible for the hyperosmolarity, the loop of Henle function as a counter current multiplier. You can see here it is responsible for development of hyperosmolarity of the medullary interstitial fluid and the medullary gradient. So you can see here the role of loop of Henle in development of the medullary gradient play a major role as counter current multiplier because loop of these nephron is long and extend up to deeper part of the medulla. The main reason for hyperosmolarity of medullary interstitial fluid is achieved is the active reabsorption of the sodium chloride and the other solute from the ascending limb of loop of Henle. These solute accumulate in the medullary interstitium and increase the osmolarity. Now due to the concentration gradient, the sodium and chlorine ions diffuse from medullary interstitium into the descending limb of loop of Henle and reach the ascending limb again via the hairpin band. Thus the sodium and chloride ion are respectively recirculated between the descending limb and the ascending limb of loop of Henle through medullary interstitial fluid, leaving a small portion to be excreted in the urine. And apart from this, there is regular addition of more or more new sodium and chloride ion into the descending limb by constant filtration. The reabsorption of the sodium chloride from the ascending limb and addition of new sodium chloride to the filtrate increase or multiply the osmolarity of medullary interstitial fluids and the osmolarity gradients. It is called counter current multiplier. So the other factor are, in addition to the multiplier by the loop of Henle, two more factors are involved in the hyperosmolarity are the reabsorption of the sodium from the collecting duct and the recirculation of the urea. Reabsorption can take place in the medullary part of the collecting duct into the medullary interstitium and adds to osmolarity of the inner medulla. and the recirculation of urea. 50% of the urea filtered that can filtered and reabsorb in proximal convoluted tubules. Almost an equal amount of urea is secreted in loop of Henle, so the fluid in distal tubules as much as urea as the amount filtered. So collecting dirt is impermeable to urea. However, due to water reabsorption from distal convoluted tubules and collecting dirt in the presence of ADH, urea concentration increases in the collecting duct. Now, due to concentration gradient, the concentration gradient of the urea diffuses from the inner medullary part of the collecting duct into the medullary interstitium. You can see in the figure. Due to continuous diffusion, the concentration of the urea increases in the inner medulla, resulting in hyperosmolarity of the interstitium in the inner medulla. Again, by concentration gradient, urea enters the ascending limb. It passes through the distal tubules and reaches the collecting duct. Urea enters the medullary interstitium. By this way, urea recirculates repeatedly and help to maintain the hyperosmolarity of the inner medullary interstitium. Only small amount of the urea is excreted. Use recirculation account for 50% of hyperosmolarity of the inner medulla. Diffusion of urea from collecting duct in the medullary interstitium is carried out by the urea transporter. So the permeability characteristic of both loop and the collecting duct to concentrated urea and the tubular fluid, the loop of Henle, and you can see here the descending limb to which are permeable to water and impermeable to urea, and the distal convoluted tubules, collecting duct, variable permeability to water and impermeable to urea, and the papillary duct, permeable to urea. The urea account for roughly 1/3 of the solute in the deepest portion of the medulla. As water reabsorption occurs, the urea concentration rises. So, the countercurrent exchange in the vasa reacta preserve hyperosmolarity of the renal medulla. The vasa reacta function as countercurrent exchanger. It is responsible for the maintenance of the medullary gradient, which is developed by the countercurrent multiplier. So, you can see in this figure the vasa reacta traps salt and urea within the interstitial fluid but transport water out of the renal medulla. So, what is the role of vasa reacta in maintenance of the medullary gradient? So, vasa reacta act like countercurrent exchanger because of its position. It is also U-shaped tubules with descending limb, hairpin bend and a ascending limb. Vasa reacta run parallel to the loop of Henle. Its descending limb run along the ascending limb of Henle loop and its ascending limb run along with the descending limb of Henle's loop. The sodium chloride reabsorbed from the ascending limb of Henle loop enter the medullary interstitium. From here it enters the descending limb of vasa reacta. Simultaneously, water diffuses from the descending limb of vasa reacta into the medullary interstitium. The blood flow very slowly through the vasa reacta, so a large quantity of sodium chloride accumulate in the descending limb of vasa reacta and flow slowly towards the ascending limb. By that time the blood reaches the ascending limb of the vasa reacta. The concentration of sodium chloride increases very much. This causes diffusion of sodium chloride into the medullary interstitium. Simultaneously, water from the medullary interstitium enter the ascending limb of vasa reacta and the cycle is repeated. When Therefore, when the blood passes through the ascending limb vasa reacta, sodium chloride diffuses out of the blood and enter the interstitial fluid of the medulla and water diffuses into the blood. Vasa reacta retains sodium chloride in the medullary interstitium and the hyperosmolarity of medullary interstitium is maintained. The blood passing through the ascending limb of vasa reacta may carry very little amount of sodium chloride from the medulla. So recycling of urea also occur through this exchange mechanism. So role of distal tubule and collecting dirt in the formation of concentrated or diluted urines. And the role of ADH, finally the concentration of urine is achieved by the action of antidiuretic hormone. Normally the distal convoluted tubule and collecting ducts are not permeable to water, but the presence of ADH make them permeable, resulting in the water reabsorption. Water reabsorption induced by antidiuretic hormone is called as the facultative reabsorption of the water. So large amount of the dilute water you can see in the, if the ADH is absent, and if the ADH is present, the small amount of the concentrated urine will be coming, you can see in this diagrams. Though there is high osmolarity of renal medullary interstitial fluid which provide the osmotic gradient which are necessary for the water reabsorptions to occur. Whether the water actually leave the collecting duct by osmosis is determined by the hormone which are the antidiuretic hormone. Osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus detect the low level of water. So the hypothalamus sends an impulses to the pituitary gland which release antidiuretic hormone into the bloodstream. The antidiuretic hormone make the wall of collecting duct more permeable to water. Therefore, when antidiuretic hormone is present, more water is reabsorbed and less is excreted. So water reabsorptions are the facultative and the obligatory using sodium. Obligatory water reabsorptions. So when filtrate flow through the proximal convoluted tubules, there is active reabsorption of sodium and chloride followed by obligatory reabsorption of water. So the osmolarity of fluid remain the same as in case of women capsule, that is 300 milliosmol per liter. Thus in proximal convoluted tubule the fluid is isotonic to the plasma. And thick descending segment, when the fluid passes from proximal convoluted into the thick descending segment, water is reabsorbed from tubules into the outer medullary interstitium by means of the osmosis. So water flow follows solutes to the interstitial fluid, either the transcellular and the paracellular pathway, so largely influenced by the sodium reabsorptions. When there is excess sodium reabsorption by the osmosis, excess the water will be reabsorbed. Obligatory water reabsorptions, here you can see when there is excess solutes, hydrostatic pressure will be increases by the process of osmosis. And next is the facultative water reabsorptions. So a large quantity of water is removed from the fluids while passing through the distal convoluted tubule and the collecting ducts, the urine becomes hypertonic with an osmolarity of the 1200 milliosmoles. Occur mostly in the collecting duct through the water pores or the water channels regulated by the antidiuretic hormones. You can see here increased permeability of the luminal membrane to water by inserting new water channels or the vasopressins that can act on it, and antidiuretic hormone is the formation of increase the permeability for water in the distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct.